Hey party people, second graders, we're back with math, week 8, day 2, benchmark estimates and measuring once more. We've done benchmark estimates in the past with our metric system, our metric units, centimeters, meters, you might remember. This is a switch and we're going to be doing it in our US customary system measurements. So, remembering that our 3 units are the following. The inch. Now, an inch is the size of a small paperclip. So if you think back to the sizes of paperclips, I know that we use so many at school. There's the normal size, and then there's the one that's a bit smaller. The one that's a bit smaller is about an inch. When you visualize an inch, I want you to think about that small paperclip. The next unit in this customary system is the foot. A foot is 12 inches long. That's like if you were to put 12 paper clips, line them up end point to end point, right? No gaps, no overlaps. 12 paper clips would give you a foot. It is about the size of it is the size of a standard ruler. So think back to our classrooms, but all the rulers we use, the long ones that are 1 foot or 12 inches long. Lastly, there's our biggest unit, which is the yard. A yard is 36 inches long. If you look at how big a foot is, 12 inches, and how big a yard is, 36 inches, 3 feet, 12 plus 12 plus 12, equal 36 inches. So 3 feet is the same as 1 yard, or 36 inches. I want you to think about the width of your door. So the width is from left to right, horizontal, across. The average door is about 3 feet, 36 inches, or 1 yard. When we're estimating the length of things, we're going to think about a small paper clip, the normal size ruler, and the width of a door. So let's try estimating. The first object is a standard size marker. So think back to school, our art caddies, and the markers within those. Would you measure this object with inches, feet, or yards? If at home you said inches, you are correct. This object is small, right? We can measure it in inches, and I did the exact measurement here at home. It is about 6 inches, in between 6 and 7 inches long. Think about lining up a small paper clip along the edge and measuring, no gaps, no overlap. There would be about 6 paper clips lined up to measure this marker. The next object, a little tricky, is a car. Now this car looks small on your screen, but think about the car that you actually put your body into, that you might drive in. It's not a toy car, it's a real size car. Would you measure that using inches? Probably not. It would take you all day long to measure that, right? No gaps, no overlaps, doing all the inches. It would take a really long time. Inch is not your best bet here. So that leaves 2 choices, the foot or the yard. Now, the average Toyota Corolla, this type of car right here, is about 14 to 15 feet. So you would use a ruler to measure from one end of the car, the front, to the back. You could also argue that if it is 14 feet long, you could measure in yards. It would be about 2.5 yards long. So either one of those I would find to be acceptable. But when you deal with a car dealership, right, what they say is this car is 14 feet long. So they measure it using feet. All right. And lastly, it wants you to estimate a soccer field. Here's the Horace Mann field that we miss so much. This is from the parent-teacher soccer game. So I just want to bring up a familiar picture for you all because we're all missing school. So the field, think about how ginormous the field is outside. what would you measure the field with? I hope you said yards. That is the correct answer. We would measure this field 3 feet at a time, or 1 yard at a time. That would be the most efficient way, the quickest, best, most accurate way. You could do it by inches, you could do it by feet, but it's going to take you an awfully long time. All right, I hope that using your benchmark estimates has become a little bit more clear through this. The last part of our time together today is reviewing our tool and looking at measuring lines. So this is a quick review from yesterday. We have our tool, the ruler. Remember, you're going to need it now to measure the next couple of lines. So make sure that you have it. One side has inches, and one side has centimeters. Today you're using both sides, so we want to just refamiliarize with both sides. The inch is a bit longer than the centimeter, right? We can see that the space between these two red lines, the 0 to 1 here on the inches, is longer than the 0 to 1 here on the centimeters. All right, popping right back into our slides. Let's go. So the last part is measuring lines. In your packet, it looks like this. There's different lines they want you to measure using centimeters and also using inches. Now, I'm going to just model for you measuring a line with both. However, this line is not the same as the line that they're asking you to measure because our packets are different sizes. My view on the computer is different from the one that you have in front of you. So I just wanted to model for you measuring a line, not the exact one that you're going to work with. So here is the line I've chosen to measure. What you'll need is your ruler, and you'll need to make sure that you're lining up your end points. Remember from yesterday, we start at the end point. So the 0 is lined up with the edge of the line. I know that I'm measuring correctly for inches because I'm on the inches side of the ruler. I'll measure from end to end. So if I come down here, I can see that this line is just about 5 inches. It is not exactly 5 inches. So we have the kind of decision to make here. Would you round down and say it's closer to 4, or round up and say it's closer to 5? I hope that at home you can see that tiny bit it has to go to 5 and agree with me that we are rounding up. This line is about 5 inches. The next thing we're going to do is flip our tool around. We need to measure in centimeters. So make sure your ruler is flipped appropriately, and you are now on the centimeter side. Making sure your endpoint is lined up, the 0 centimeter, with the edge of the line. Endpoints, ready to rock and roll. When you measure, I would even push this ruler back a little bit to the left. The way it formatted on my computer is not quite perfect. You want the 0 line matched up with the end of that. Then you're going to come on down and measure end to end, and you'll see here we're getting about 12.5 centimeters. So when you're getting the 12.5 centimeters, we're going to use the language of about. Is it past the half and we'll round up to 13, or is it just below the half and we'll round down to 12? Think about that. It is about 12. It's not quite at the half, so we'll round down and say it's closer to 12 centimeters, especially because it's very, very close. You could kind of go either way, so I would take 12 or 13 there, but in this case, I see it as a little below. I'm going to go with 12 centimeters. Now here's your rockstar question to end our session together. So the line is 12 centimeters, and it's also 5 inches. Why is the number of inches smaller than the number of centimeters? Think about that. Do you think you have an answer? All right, well, if you said it's because the inches are larger, right? 1 inch is much larger than 1 centimeter, therefore it's less inches, you are correct. Same thing goes if you said that because the centimeters are smaller, there are more of them. Nicely done. All right, go rock your work today, and I will check in with you next time.